Whether you realize it or not, your habits are shaping your life every single day. The way you think, the way you feel, the goals you're chasing or avoiding are all being influenced by the things you repeatedly do. Your habits can push you forward and help you become the person you want to be, or they can quietly keep you stuck in the same place for years. Today, I'm going to share with you guys 3 habits and 1 protocol that will help reshape your life. I want to specify I'm not some guru who's going to give you 3 easy habits that are going to immediately change your whole life. These habits are pretty simple. They aren't going to magically turn your life around in a couple days. They're not unheard of. But in the process of doing them consistently, I can tell you from personal experience, in time you will notice a difference in the quality of your life. Before we get into the 3 habits, I just want to quickly talk about good habits versus bad habits and how they have some similarities and obviously some major differences. Bad habits are easy to form. So for example, constantly scrolling on your phone, ordering food on DoorDash, smoking weed every day. These are all things that make you feel good in the moment, but I know from personal experience when I used to order food, for example, I would often regret it almost immediately after I finished eating it, and I'd be like, fuck, why did I just do that? Just to do it again like 2 nights later. So these habits are bad, but you still do them anyways because your brain has been wired for short-term gratification. Now, the opposite of that is good habits. So instead of scrolling, you're reading or learning. You're saving your wallet and overall health by making food at home instead of ordering it. These are all things that will make you feel good in the long run. So long-term gratification. And opposite to bad habits, they're probably going to be difficult at first and you're not going to always feel like doing them. It's impossible to always feel motivated. It's really about having discipline, and for a lot of people, that word might scare them or make them think of someone like David Goggins or something like that, but that's really an extreme example. I'm not telling you to be like David Goggins and fucking carry the boats and the logs. I think there are very few people in the world like him that can operate like that. So when I say be disciplined, it really just means to be consistent in what you do. They say it takes 21 days to break or form a habit, which I don't know if there's an exact number to put on it, but it's definitely around that range. And here is actually where there are similarities to bad habits. Once you have a good habit formed and you don't do it or miss it for whatever reason, it's probably going to affect your mood a little bit. The same way that it may have felt to quit nicotine, weed, porn, or social media. If you've ever been around someone quitting nicotine, or really any of those things, you know they're really easy to set off. They have a short fuse. I don't think it's the same level with good habits, but if you go to the gym or read on a regular basis and you aren't able to do it for a couple days for whatever reason, you will definitely notice, and it may even have a bit of an effect on your mood. As humans, we are creatures of habit. It just is what it is. It's how we're designing our fucking code or whatever. Like there's nothing you can do about that. It's set in stone. The one thing you can control is what your habits are, which brings me to our first habit, which is taking care of your space. I think this is so important because not only is it a good and healthy habit in itself, but not doing it will likely affect your other habits. Someone told me this quote once, and I think it's so true, and it's that if you don't make your bed when you get up in the morning, you may as well not even get out of bed in the first place. This sets the tone for your day, and it's really simple and easy, and it's not your whole space, so if you're trying to reset yourself, you need to go further than that and reset everything. So I think like throw away old shit that's been sitting around forever or put it into storage. Get rid of the clutter of dishes you have on your nightstand or whatever. Put your clothes away, everything. Declutter your area. The actual science behind it is that maintaining a tidy space decreases your cognitive load and removes subconscious distractions. Additionally, making your bed, as small as it sounds, is starting the day off with an accomplishment, which does release dopamine and endorphins. But beyond all the science or whatever, I think you're just going to feel better about yourself if your space is cleaner. And I do believe that how you do one thing is how you do everything, at least to a certain degree. My mom used to say that to me all the time when I was growing up, and it would always piss me off, to be honest. But the older I've got, the more I've realized that she was right. There's not really much of an excuse, you guys. If you want to get started on improving yourself and your habits, it's really as easy as this. There are a lot of things in life that you can't control, and I understand that, but this is definitely one thing that you can. Now, for habit number 2 is something that I've spoken about and I'm going to continue to speak about because I think it's really important, and that is reading and or writing. I think it's very important to read, and I also think it's very important to express your thoughts in the form of writing. It's good to reflect. I would recommend starting a journal. I would have fucking laughed at you in high school if you told me to start journaling, but to be honest, I do really think that it's beneficial to reflect on things and to be able to go back and reference them. It just really tracks your thinking and your progress. And I've mentioned before that with reading, I think it's almost like a form of meditation. It helps you calm the mind and focus on something, and over time, you will definitely notice this translate into your life. On top of that, you are also learning, which is good for your brain. You're absorbing knowledge, and you are forced to use critical thinking, opposed to scrolling on social media where everything is just spoon-fed to you. If you don't do things to keep your mind sharp, you will become dull. It's as simple as that. And additionally, this also ties in directly as a replacement for some of the bad habits that I've mentioned. A lot of people try and quit a bad habit like social media, or they want to play less video games, smoke less weed, or whatever it is, really, but they stop and they don't replace it with anything. If you have been spending 3 or 4 hours a day on your phone and all of a sudden you stop doing that, you're going to have a bit of a hole in your life that you're not used to having. It's important to fill that hole with something better. A good analogy for this, I think, is to think about it like you're going to the dentist for a cavity. When you go to the dentist for a cavity, they like drill that shit out of your tooth, but they don't just leave it, otherwise the integrity of your tooth is at risk, so they fill that shit, right? This works the exact same way with replacing bad habits with good ones. You are far more likely to stay off a bad path if you replace it with a good one. Pretty simple. The third and final habit I want to mention is controlling what you put in your body. I used to be so bad at this, especially since I grew up as an athlete, like training like 5 or 6 times a week, playing hockey. I could kind of eat like whatever the fuck I wanted and stay in pretty good shape. But over time, especially as I got older, I noticed the effects of all the garbage I was constantly putting in my body. I used to consume so much sugar, like mainly through the form of soda. I used to rip like 3 Cokes a day minimum. It was definitely rare for me to go a full day without some kind of drink that was loaded with sugar. And the food and snacks I ate were often pretty bad too. I'm still pretty young, so I still allow myself to be somewhat loose with my diet. I'm not on some strict fucking like keto diet, but I try to keep it to as little as possible. I drink more water, I have healthier alternatives when I do want something, and I eat high protein and low carb meals whenever I can. I still go to restaurants, and that's typically when I ignore my diet, but other than that, I try to stick to it unless I'm on vacation or it's a special occasion. You can really adapt this however you want it for yourself. Like if you have had like a super clean diet for 2 weeks and you're with your buddies and you wanted to rip like a Popeye's chicken sandwich or something, I think there's zero issues with that. As long as like 80% of the time you're sticking to your diet, you will notice such a big difference in yourself after a while. Like when I cut down on sugar and focused on like higher protein, higher potassium, lower sodium, and lower carbs, my acne fucking like pretty much disappeared for the first time in years. And not only like did I notice physical benefits, but my energy levels felt better. I noticed progress in my recovery for an injury I've been rehabbing from, and physically I also just look better, right? Which is an added bonus. What you choose to consume is what you're choosing to fuel your body and your brain. So if you choose shit, then your body and mind are going to operate like shit. What you put in is what you're going to get out. The last thing I want to touch on is maybe the most important thing, to be honest, and that is what I call a bad day protocol. So you're going to have bad days. It's inevitable. No one is perfect. Life's going to throw shit at you. And there's going to be days where you slip up, or maybe even more things out of your control come up, right? So, for example, this isn't really out of my control necessarily, but I went out for a friend's birthday last weekend, and the day after, I felt like shit, right? I was hungover and I'd slept in pretty late, and you need to realize that like stuff like this is not the end of the world. And maybe it's for another reason. Maybe you're not an idiot like me and you don't drink too much. Maybe you have some personal shit that comes up. Whatever the reason is, this bad day protocol is your anchor. It's your anchor that keeps you from drifting too far from this new version of yourself you're working on. Because that old version of you, especially in the early parts, is still in there, and it's ready to creep back in at any moment, because it was really easy to be that version of yourself, and easy feels good, especially on the bad days. So you need to select a couple of things that are non-negotiable, things that are easy to do even on your worst days. So to give you guys an example, on my bad day protocol, I have simple things like making my bed, not leaving any dishes or clothes lying around, and I try to read for at least 15 minutes. And if I'm not going to get around to doing my workout, I will try and stay active by going for a walk. Even 15 minutes at the end of the day, it will help you avoid staying inside for the entire day, and it gives you some time to reflect on your day and your thoughts. Like, don't beat yourself up. The day is over and it wasn't your best, but tomorrow is an opportunity to get back on track. Remember, like, this is a marathon. It's not a race. So one bad day will not make or break you. Keep on doing the little things, and over time, they will lead to bigger things, you guys. I'm right here with you. Believe me, I am still learning every day. This is an active journey, okay? If you guys have any habits or tips that helped you, leave it below, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who would like to know. I'm sure there are lots of other people here who can benefit from your unique experiences. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.